Here we're asked to graph the polynomial function. Make sure to label all the x and y intercepts. So first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to determine the degree and the sign of my polynomial. First things first here, I have x plus 1 squared. I know that that is x plus 1 times x plus 1. So if I want to count up the degree here, I know it's going to be x to the power of 1, x to the power of 2, x to the power of 3, and x to the power of 4. So my degree is 4, and my sign is negative. The nice part of that is it tells me my end behavior and tells me the general shape of our graph. Because it's to the power of 4, normally it looks kind of like a W, but because the sign is negative, it's actually going to look kind of like an M. So that kind of gives us our end behavior. So next, I'm going to go ahead and plot the x-intercepts. I know that there's an intercept at -1, because if I plug in -1 here, it gives me 0. I know that there is one at +4, because if I plug that in here, it gives me 0, and +2. So there are my x-intercepts. Now, only one more thing here really to do before we sketch it, and it's find the y-intercept. What I mean by that, I'm going to clear this off really quick and add back my zeros. What I mean by the y-intercept is if x is equal to 0, then what is y going to equal? So if I plug in 0 here, 0 plus 1 squared times 0 minus 4 times 0 minus 2, and don't forget our -1/2 in the front here. So if I'm solving this, I'm going to go ahead and put it over here where we have a little bit more space. I'm going to deal with everything in the parentheses first. So I have -1/2 times 1 squared times -4 times the -2. So now I know 1 squared is just 1. Now I'm going to go ahead and multiply some of these together. I know -4 times -2 is just +8, times 1 is still just +8. So I get -1/2 times 8. So what that gives me is -8 over 2, or -4. So my y-intercept, when x is 0, y is -4. So what that means here is that I know that my graph is going to hit all of these zeros and go through my y-intercept. Now, the last thing when I'm sketching here is that because I know that one of these values is squared, I know it's going to bounce off that point. So remember we talked about what the general look like is going to be kind of like an M. So I'm going to start at the bottom here and go towards my first 0. When I hit this here, it's going to bounce off. Because it is squared, I know it's going all the way down through my y-intercept. Now the rest of my x-intercepts are not squared, so it is going to go through these ones here. And here is a general sketch of this polynomial here.